It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the special All the Horror edition of the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast, and I guess I should say All the Horror 2020 edition, because we did one of these last year. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman, who is here but not here. She couldn't be with us for this portion, but most of this was recorded earlier, and she was with us for this episode. So she's here and she's not here. So how are you guys doing?
Doing groovy.
Doing good, now that I understand what you were saying.
Zing.
Just go back to drinking your beer there, Les.
Yeah, have another beer.
Yeah. As I said, this is part of the All the Horror
event.
What event that's going on with several podcasts for the month of October, and we were invited to be part of it last year, and we enjoyed it so much that we were.
They couldn't keep us away this year.
That's right. That's it. Exactly it. So. And this year, our focus for Horror Month is films that star Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And for our All the Horror episode, we reviewed or dissected or trampled over whatever phrase you want to call it.
I like that.
I do too.
The 1972 film Horror Express. And joining us for this episode is from Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique. Amelia. From Jackie Watches Stuff podcast, we have Jackie. And from Invasion of the Remake, we have Trish. And for this episode, I was a little bit of a bastard, and I basically forced Mike to take over for the host duties for this, so enjoy that.
I certainly did.
Anything y'all want to add before we switch over to the roundtable discussion or whatever you're crashing of the film?
Two little things.
Yes.
One, in case you're not sure, in case we haven't talked it up enough, All the Horror specifically is honestly just a kind of a big group of mostly podcasters, but we've also got some writers and artists involved. And we're just having fun in October talking about horror stuff. There's a whole bunch. I mean, I want to say upwards of 40 podcasts involved at this point, and a handful of other creative folks. And we're just having a good time talking about horror stuff. We're kind of doing a bunch of group projects. We're kind of guesting on each other's shows and having a good old time. And this is all put together. I mean, it was all put together in 2018 to start with by basically one person, and he has kept the whole thing going. He's kept it somehow. Sam has managed to keep the thing all together, even though some days it doesn't seem like it, but that's mostly in the background. It'll all make sense when you get through it. So to keep track of what's going on throughout the month of October, you can either, and I highly recommend definitely following at All the Horror 18 on Twitter. And if you need to just do a quick check of what's going on, what's happened most recently, search for the hashtag All the Horror at any point, and there will be a whole bunch of cool stuff happening. The other thing is a reminder that I'm going to lead into our stuff with the official All the Horror theme music, which was written and performed by Sean Faust. So there we go.
Nice. Yeah, for one, even 2 or 3 or 4 people to try to put this all together and be on top of it on a yearly basis, that's a lot. So kudos to him to starting this initially and then just keeping it going year after year.
Right, and he started this in addition to, he's, like I said, he's one of the driving forces for the Invasion of the Remake podcast, we borrowed Trish from him for this episode, obviously, along with Amelia and Jackie. But yeah, so I mean, he's a fairly busy guy, and I mean, clearly he loves it enough to take all this mess on. He hits some of us up regularly for help, but you know what? That's okay. Basically it's still him. So yeah. So a quick thanks to Sam for spearheading this whole thing yet again.
Definitely.
And for letting us be a part of it.
Well, thank you for that, for saying that and being part of, helping us be a part of that as well, Mike. I do appreciate what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And with that, here we go with our look at Horror Express.
All right, so we're here. We're recording our All the Horror episode, and we've got some guests here with us. Let's start off with Amelia from Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique.
Hello. Is this when you want me to introduce myself?
Sure.
Okay, hi. As he said, I'm Amelia from Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique. We are trying out a new tagline this year, which is, we're here, we're queer, we're in your ear. And best way for me to explain our show is, remember when we used to go to restaurants and you'd listen in on the weird conversation at the next table? That's kind of what our show is the weird conversation that you kind of want you to join in on every once in a while, but you have to sit quietly. And that's we're just two people who've known each other since 1984, and so we have a lot to talk about. And we're every other Friday. That's pretty much us.
Awesome. Okay. So cool. All right. So we also have Jackie from the Jackie Watches Stuff podcast.
Hi. Yes. My podcast is about me watching stuff. It is what I call my cinematic quest to finally understand and see the movies that I probably should have already seen. So I'm sure I'll be made fun of at some point on the show for not seeing certain things and not understanding certain references, but that's why. It's because I've never seen those movies.
It's okay. We will be doing the same to everybody. We're equal opportunity maker funner uppers.
Thank you.
Yep, entirely.
They are. They don't discriminate.
Not at all. Nope. And we also have Trish from the Invasion of the Remake podcast.
Oh, hey, everybody. So Invasion of the Remake is a podcast where we sort of alternate weeks. One week we take an old movie that has like a nugget of an idea that might make it good, and we try and remake it and recast it and rework it so it's a workable movie. And then the next week we do comparisons of movies that have been remade, most often to a great amount of disappointment. But Because honestly, and the whole thing is like remakes keep coming and coming. We could be in a bunker for like another 50 years and not get through all the remakes that keep coming out.
Right. No kidding.
Hundreds a year, it seems like.
Yes.
Deserved and not deserved.
Oh my God, yes.
Mostly not deserved. But anyway. All right, cool. So, plus all four of the usual gang for us. You know who we are. I mean, come on. So this month, this is October, and we are talking about movies with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And so we found a Lulu for this one. We're going to talk about the 1972 film, Horror Express.
Woo!
Yes. Polar Express goes very wrong.
Kind of does, yeah. All right.
I would like to see this remade with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. That would be awesome.
Oh, I vote for that.
Now,
Dennis Quaid.
does Meg Ryan play the Peter Cushing character, or does Meg Ryan play the cop on the train?
Well, you know what? I think Meg Ryan just more leans as I more associate with her with Peter Cushing. I just feel that they would be the best man.
All right.
Sort of the Peter Cushing of romantic comedies.
Yeah, she is. She is. Tom Hanks is
You've
Christopher
got
Lee.
nice.
Yeah. You know, she just brings that delight to the horror. It's like everything's going to be fine. We'll fall in love and then murder people. It'll be great.
I'd line up for that one.
Oh, yeah. I'm in. Sign me up. Where's the Kickstarter? I'm down.
It would be perfect now. Yeah.
Has anybody seen Meg Ryan in the last 10 years?
I'm not sure when. Last time I saw her, I kind of gasped a little bit. I don't remember how long ago it was, though.
Yeah, I was thinking, I haven't seen her do anything recently. I don't know.
There was something she did with Timothy Hutton was the last thing I saw her do.
Wow. There's a name I haven't thought of in a while.
Yeah, same here.
Wow. Resisting the urge to Google right now. Nope.
Oh, we Google stuff
Look that up later.
we Google stuff mid-show all the time. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, knock yourself out. It's fine. Because I don't know what he's done lately either.
Oh, I probably have him mixed up with somebody else. But was it The Haunting of Hill House? Was that? No, that wasn't him, was it?
Ooh.
Are we talking about the recent remake?
Yeah.
Like, you're the remake expert here, Trish. Come on.
I know. Let me just take a look here. Haunting of Hill House. IMDb. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right. So, I guess, does anybody have a specific thing they want to jump on about this movie? Be it positive or negative?
I looked up the budget for this movie. Would anyone like to guess what the budget was?
Oh, God, in 1972 money?
I can only award you, kudos, but we're going to play Price is Right rules.
Oh, I already looked it up, so I think I'm disqualified.
You're DQ'd, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I did gosh, I already looked it up.
Yeah.
300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go in that neighborhood, too.
What a very accurate, almost Google-like guess.
I-
300,000.
I swear to you, I did not look it up. I promise you, I
The
did not look it
answer
up.
was $300,000.
Well,
I think it showed.
well,
I
I
think
think-
they
I agree.
spent all that money on the costume of whatever the demon thing was, really.
Well, no.
I was thinking Telly Savalas' outfit was worth
Oh,
at
that's
least
Oh,
half.
No,
There was a costume.
I think
Right.
Christopher
I
Lee
thought
got
they
90
just
grand,
greased a monkey.
and Peter Cushing got 90 grand, and Telly Savalas got 90 grand, and what was left was what they did production with, because no.
I actually do have a side story about this movie. The first time I saw it, maybe 5, maybe 6 years ago, I saw it on eBay on VHS, and I was very excited, and I bought it immediately. And all of my friends were like, "Why would you buy this on VHS?" And I'm like, "Because this is a movie that's made for VHS. what is the point of putting this movie on any digital format?
I'm not sure it wasn't shot on VHS, honestly. God, it's oh man, it's
really had that
terrible.
feel.
It did. I mean, with the handheld cameras and everything. I mean, it was great.
Well, in the first 3 minutes, they flash names and flashing lights at you. It's like, whoa,
Right.
seizure warning.
There's one guy's name I couldn't read at all. I don't know. I think he was the DP or something. I don't know who he was because I couldn't read his freaking name.
Yeah.
And then I thought I had the wrong movie because it looked like a wizard and Davy Crockett walked into a cave. So it's like, is this right?
I just want to hear the end of that joke.
I want to hear the end of the movie.
It was a lot
Like-
of, if I remember
It
right.
turned very Walking Deadish.
Yeah.
Could that cave have been any smaller either? I mean, let's get 6'4" Christopher Lee ducking in this huge Russian hat thing through this tiny little cave with some dude following some dude, and there's, I mean, the cameraman is holding his hand cam in front of them, and there's the only light is from that flashlight, and I'm like, oh my god, seriously?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite, actually, in that scene, when they come upon the frozen ape-man guy, I love the way it was meant to look frozen, but it really just looked like someone dripped candle wax all over him. And then I turned to my husband when I rewatched it this morning, and I turned to him and said, I didn't remember this being a Bukkake movie. And I was like,
I forgot to ask, we do have the explicit tag, right? You earned it.
We do now.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 minutes in, we've got our first Bukkake reference. All right, we're rolling.
Hey, and you were talking obscure movies, and the one reference we've done now is Bukkake. It's the porn
Thank you.
reference. Kudos. Applause.
Absolutely. Well
I would
played.
like to know how the assistant to Cushing, or to Lee, knew the song of the movie.
oh
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
the
He was
cop
whistling.
the song. Oh man, what in the world was that?
I was humming that song all morning after I was done. I could not get it out of my head.
And this went on for the whole movie. People would start whistling or playing it on a piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, how do you know this? But obviously they read the script. So
Maybe.
Yeah, the only
They
James
paid a guy,
Bond.
he wrote one song. That's all they had.
The only way we're going to get a James Bond reference in here. Apparently, they were supposed to just keep playing the theme for the whole movie.
If
I
the
don't
budget
know.
was larger, there would have been more songs, but that was the only one they could afford.
Yeah, the soundtrack to this movie was released as a 7-inch single.
Dance
Can you
mix.
imagine if they couldn't get somebody to compose something and it all had to be like public domain songs?
Ah, man, with this movie, you could
Can't
believe
sound
it.
racist. Sing the song, dude.
Doo-da.
rock around the clock or something.
Well, the Jaws theme is only like 2 notes. They really could have come up with something.
Mhm.
They could have doubled their money and had 4. It would have been great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't give them that idea, because that would have made the movie longer.
Yeah, it was already long enough.
That opening scene was long enough for the whole movie.
Oh, Lord.
I need to ask regarding the opening. I was a little confused. There was an attempted robbery of this skull that had serious, like, racial undertones that, you know.
You think?
It's fine. It's fine. For anyone that's listened to my podcast, I've learned that any movie created before, like, 1990 was just mildly racist in all forms. But,
At
like,
best. At
what?
best,
At
wildly
best,
racist.
yeah.
Right, like what? So was this
Yeah.
like weird, like Asian man that was trying to steal this thing supposed to make me think that it was a desired and like coveted item in this? I was very confused.
that actually kind of tangentially hits one of my weird points about that whole bit, because at the beginning of that scene they flash a graphic up that says Peking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
they're allegedly they're in China, but like I said, the graphic flashes up and says Peking. And then as soon as Peter Cushing walks onto the set, he says to Christopher Lee's character, "So, what are you doing here in Shanghai?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
maybe at this time there was time travel or something, or I don't know. Was this set in the year 3006, not 1906?
Maybe.
could be
How interesting.
some sort of weird cyberpunk
It was just very bizarre.
city of China thing going on. Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to pull some sort of Siam, Thailand thing.
Could be.
Just very bizarre.
I am the king of Siam.
I had to throw a Yul Brynner reference in here somehow, didn't we?
Well, it doesn't lean toward Westworld, so.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah. Magnificent Seven?
I'm sure there's a quotable line in there somewhere, but man, haven't seen it. I mean, we talked about it not that long ago on our show, but yeah, not thinking of anything.
But once you watch Horror Express, it just kind of wipes everything else out of your brain.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
It is.
My eyes are wide after
Like
I would
it's-
say
watching this.
literally.
like in the movie, right? And it even
Your brain gets all smooth like a baby's butt.
Yeah, we need to talk about this science.
There's so much science in this movie.
and it's all wrong.
I am not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor. But is your brain really wrinkly when it has memories and smooth when it does not have memories?
I have heard a theory that the wrinkles get more defined, but I don't know if that's just with age or, I mean, it seems like the more active your brain is, but then aging does that too. So,
Yeah.
but I had heard things like that before, but that seemed like an extremely simplistic way of
Yeah, he
talking
like
about it. The more you
hacksawed
think-
a dude's brain or head open and was like, a smooth brain. It must have no memories. Like, what? I was very confused by this logic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then they start just sucking the eyeball juice out with a syringe and squirt it into
Oh my God.
a microscope, and hey, there's a movie playing.
Oh my god.
Hey, look in there. Ooh, look at that.
You know what got me with that one?
Hmm.
Do you remember the Wild Wild West remake back in the early 90s?
Yes.
Same stunt.
Kevin Kline. Oh,
They
God.
did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they stuck I can't even say the words because they are too disgusting. I didn't watch that whole scene because it was too gross.
It was. I have a thing with eyeballs too, and so I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the needle thing.
Goodness,
But
no.
yeah, they used the whole head in the Wild Wild West thing, and they just sort of stuck it in front of a movie projector and shot an image
Shot
of
right
the
through
last
the
thing the
eye.
guy saw in life up on the screen, and I'm like, wow, that was an interesting place to rip something off from.
Right? God.
I mean, the mechanical spiders wasn't bad enough, but
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, a third act of every movie should have a giant spider in it. I mean, that's just good movie making right there.
Oh, well, you listen to like the Kevin Smith's take on this whole thing. Is the guy
Oh.
Exactly.
he spent decades trying to get a giant spider in a freaking movie.
That was a hell of a giant spider.
Yeah.
Oh,
Went
it
all out
was.
on it. It cost at least as much as Horror Express did.
Oh my god. And it shows.
Well, there's that.
You know, since we're talking about science, I actually have a couple of notes concerning some sciencey things. There was one thing that I was really surprised they got right, and I actually Googled it very quickly in the movie to make sure that I wasn't wrong when he said when the crate suddenly made a yummy sound, and everyone's like, oh, you know, what's in that crate? And then, you know, Christopher Lee is like, oh no, nothing. It's just a fossil. And he said something about that someone said something about it sounding hungry, and he said it hasn't eaten in 2 million years. And I thought, and I started like thinking, I mean, you know, a long time ago, I got a degree in anthropology, and human evolution was one of my favorite pieces of it. But I was just like, wait, no, 2 million years, that doesn't sound right. But 2 million years ago, Homo habilis was in China. I had to double check and see how far things had spread. And I'm like, wow, that is, and it was Homo habilis, so it was far enough that he could use tools, like he picked the lock. He reached out and picked the lock on the box. So I was kind of impressed that they nailed that. But at the same time, in that same scene, we're also putting a crate with a frozen specimen in it next to a heater. Because there's this big heater in the middle of the room. And I thought, yeah, that's really not what you do when you have a frozen specimen, because keeping it frozen is kind of important.
You win some, you lose some.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're on a train on the way to Russia. Why wouldn't you just hang it outside? I mean, come on.
Strap it to the top.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Strap it up top. It's
Absolutely.
perfect.
You don't need to bring it inside at all.
If they had just put it in a nice frozen car, you know, well, there's your problem. I mean, you just don't thaw the guy, and you know, then you'd have no movie, I guess.
Well,
So, yeah.
I think there may be an
That
argument.
would be thanked. I would love to have that part.
It might be a good thing, but yeah, I think you could argue there might not be a movie here to start with. But anyway,
Yeah.
They did their damnedest to make this into a movie.
The thing that was so odd to me is that no one cared what was in this box before they got on the train. But as soon as the train started moving, they all were like, what is it? What's in here? What's going on? You must tell us what's going on right now. And it's like, why didn't you just check it before?
Right?
Now
Right.
Yeah.
this is on you. This is on you.
Yeah, you're not going to
That guy
inspect it
showed
before
up.
you put it on the train.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, we are living in a post 9/11 world, so maybe that's where we're all coming from. But still.
Well, and Peter Cushing was supposed to bring on, what did he say, 3 crates of live animals. And when people started hearing funny noises or the dogs started freaking out, it's like, well, what about Cushing's crates at the other end of the room? He supposedly brought actual live things onto the train, but those didn't cause a problem.
Free for all.
They don't have thumbs. They couldn't pick locks.
I guess, yeah.
They weren't evil.
right. Well, and they went ahead and used chalk and drew crosses on the dogs before, and so they checked out fine, you know.
Oh, God, that Rasputin dude, man. He
Oh,
was
man.
amazing.
That guy was so miscast. He needs to be in his own movie. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Was that
guy,
the homeless Jesus guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy needs to be in his own movie because he was awesome. Completely
I
wasted in
looked him
here.
up. I looked him up, too. He was in at least one Lucio Fulci movie that I totally jotted down and I'm going to see later.
Oh, cool.
I'm totally going to try and get as much of this guy's catalog as I can.
Yeah. I wonder if this was like a shared universe type of deal where, because he's playing a Rasputin-esque character and Christopher Lee played a Rasputin at one point too. So maybe there's just like a crossover here. Rasputin just like changes bodies all over the place. That's the whole other movie.
Right. See, if they had just called this movie Young Rasputin,
Yeah.
that would have solved all of our problems. It would have been about him. It would have been about the monk, and everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
If I may, at the station, the man that picked the lock had his memories retrieved, and
Like a
he
bag of
was murdered.
Doritos.
But the thing did not get out of the crate, yet he was able to cover the body.
That is a good point.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Good catch. That's like the only plot hole, I think, in this whole movie. Good catch.
And I believe he back in there, didn't he?
Well,
The only
wait.
plot hole I saw was after it started.
Well, unless he looked in, through the sheet and then fell backwards and the sheet fell over
And
him.
pulled the sheet down with him. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
convenient.
But how many people can die
Sideways.
by a crate and the cops are like, yeah, go ahead, load it on the train. We're not even going to look. You're fine.
Right.
He was only a thief. He doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's so
Christopher
many people
Lee
that
said
could have solved
himself
this.
after the first 2 deaths, "Oh, a thief and a baggage man." You're right. I really don't care. I mean, he specifically said, "I don't care that these two people are dead."
Yeah.
Well, and they set
It's
him
science.
up as kind of a nobleman at the beginning. So yeah, I mean it's not unusual really.
And at one point, Peter Cushing even said when they said something about, "Oh, are you the murderers?" And he was like, "Murderers? We're British." I even had to back it up to make sure I heard that correctly. That was amazing.
Yeah, at some point, they gotta say, murderers were British. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you. Kind of do it everywhere.
British people murdering? I have no idea what you're talking about. God.
No, they just bring flags and people fall over. That's what happens.
Flags and smallpox. But anyway.
Yep. We've done nothing wrong. It's not our fault. They're like the Steve Urkel of like all of the bad countries. Did I do that?
Oh man.
Well, at the 27 minute mark, we got the plot to the story.
It took that long, really?
Really?
Oh, shit.
That was when Cushing turned to him and explained that this monster killed the guard, got out of the box, put the man in the box, locked it up, and neatly, I think the term was neatly covered the box again.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, somebody had to really go out on a limb to come up with that idea.
Because that was really the weird part is, wow, he tidies up after himself after he puts everything back where it started. Fantastic.
Right.
And then they started to look for the monster on the train, and it was so sad because the monster was in one of the berths, and he was interrupted when he was trying to play Got Your Nose with the kid asleep.
I will admit that I was screaming at my television during that scene and saying, "You better not fucking touch a kid. Like, I can't watch this, a small child with, like, these weird white marble eyes. Like, no."
Yeah, that would have been way too freaky, yeah.
Ooh, no.
Or the dog.
Oh yeah, don't you dare. Yeah. There is something kind of fabulous about that style of a train where you have the long, narrow corridor and these little berths and, one car after the other. How can some big furry creature be wandering around the train without anyone seeing it?
Without a ticket?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing. He didn't pay. That's going to be a big problem. But I have a theory that it was, well, there's a lot of posh people on this train, so they probably simply thought it was just some woman in a large fur.
Who needed to shave.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Have a mustache growing.
Yes, exactly. Well, she's got a fur hat on, and she's just like all cozied up in it. And it's like, yeah, they just can't see the jewelry. That's the only problem.
Or the red glowing eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you've met many posh people, but red glowing eyes do happen.
That's not that far much of a stretch, really.
Although, really, were the eyes red and glowing if the lights were on, or was that only when the lights went off?
When the lights were off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was you could obviously see it much better when the lights were off, but it seemed like even the people... Good Lord, if anyone's listening to this and they haven't seen this movie, they really are not going to understand anything we say.
No.
Because nothing about this makes any sense, even if you've seen it, honestly. But, like you say, he's wandering around the train. He doesn't have a ticket. No one seems... And most of the passengers, for a long, long, long time, utterly unaware that anything weird is going on. And yet, at the same time, you've got, like, the mysterious woman from Shanghai, who in my notes I kept referring to as Lady Gaga, because she was just so fabulous. Just everything about her was just styled to death. Mm-hmm. And, she just shows up in in Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee's Birth, and she's just like, well, but I can stay here. I can make it worth your while. And I'm like, wait, where is this movie going?
But then, what's-his-face shows up and is like, yes, I will be cock-blocking you, sorry, and just, like, shows up on the top. That was a beautiful scene.
Okay, but I'm getting on top. Woo-hoo.
Right, do whatever you want, but this is my bed.
Just couldn't handle the idea of Peter Cushing actually getting some in a movie. It's like, nope, that's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
I was also very frustrated because that woman and then the Countess looked exactly the same.
Oh, man,
like,
I couldn't tell the difference.
I got so confused. I had no idea what was going on, and then I finally realized it was two different people.
It's so frustrating when they do that. You're like, just change people up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Dye one of them's hair.
Yeah, they both had like a red hair situation going on. Like it wasn't even like they were both blondes. Like, really? We both went with red hair?
How convenient.
Oops.
Yeah, the only thing with the spy that really made her stand out was that she was always wearing the I just came from Shanghai dress.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that made her stand out at all. But if you weren't paying attention to that, they really were kind of identical.
She didn't have time to pack her 7 trunks worth of clothing for a 4-day trip,
I don't know. I think it was just like the 1970s version of the tourist trap beads in the hair, all those braids. I think that's just what it was. It's like, look, I've been away. How wonderful.
Bouffant your hair, pretty lady?
Yes.
The Hawaiian shirt for Shanghai.
Yes. Oh, yes. That is it. I went to Shanghai and all I got was this lousy dress.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
The costume for the monster.
Well, we're going to call it that, are we?
Well, the horrible thing in this movie.
In quotation marks.
Right.
Air quotes.
The outfit reminded me of Dick Durock in Swamp Thing. There were folds of sleeves and things where you thought that he would be tightly had tight skin and things because
as if he wasn't wearing clothes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, where did you get this relevant idea?
And what I thought was really funny about that was they spent so much time early on showing you very little, like just showing like one hand or just the glowing eyes or whatever. And for a long time, I remember I kept thinking, oh, they just couldn't spring for a monster costume, so we're just going with this. We're just going with the tight shots, and we're just supposed to imagine it. But then eventually you do get to see something, and it's like, well, that was a terrible idea.
It's a waste of time.
I don't know why you gave us one long shot. It's like, no, just cut that part out. We did not need to see that.
But they spent all their budget on it, so they had to shoot it.
Right. They just couldn't bring themselves to cut it. Yeah. I mean, let's shoot 2/3 of this movie in complete darkness to hide this thing for this big reveal, and then it's basically just a spray painted tweed overcoat. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then the fabulous idea of later when the monster takes over the police inspector guy, and he's just walking around with one furry hand that no one notices.
Right. Well, he keeps it in his pocket all the time because that totally works.
He's very casually, like, just sort of holding his arm down by his side and rotating, and a train car filled with people, and no one goes, dude, what's up with your hand?
Yeah.
Well, that would be improper.
Do you want to ask the guy why he has hairy palms?
Well, two things.
We're going back in that direction again? Jeez.
True. But he has hairy palms, and he's constantly got his hand in his pants. Like,
Right.
Hence the hairy palm.
Right. Which is why
I'm like,
looks like it was covered in Vaseline.
is this, this a chicken and egg situation? Did the hairy palm come from the hand down the pants? Or is it down the pants, the hairy palm, sort of what happens?
See, you guys thought you brought women on the show and it was going to be like really classy and shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
no. We knew better.
We can't help it.
We just have questions. That's all we know.
It's a legitimate question.
Questions I'm not comfortable answering. But anyway, go ahead, Jackie.
What did you just call me?
What? Nothing? I said Jackie. Gosh.
It's fine. It's fine. I thought you were implying something about my hands.
Oh, no.
They are very smooth, thank you.
No. You were starting to say something and I interrupted.
Oh, no. I wanted to talk about your thoughts on the special effects of the creepiest eyes I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Whose eyes
The
were
ones
those?
in the monster or the petri dish?
No, the ones that were featured on all of the dead people and also on a fish, because we had to do that.
You're not kidding, man. Those white eyes, that was amazing. That could have been half their budget right there, because those whatever kind of weird lenses they put on those people were legit freaky.
It was terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah.
They looked like genuine white marbles in their eyes, which really freaked me out. I had a friend growing up that used to work at like the local haunted house, and he had a whole suite of like contacts that made his eyes look freaky.
Mm-hmm.
And even seeing them up close, like seeing it in this movie really, really got me. Like it really freaked me out.
Yeah, even the utterly fake blood dripping around the eyes was not enough to distract from how creepy those contacts were.
And that's the thing, like they didn't need the weird fake blood because those
the
eyes
eyes
looked
by
pretty
themselves,
good.
yeah. See, and what cracks me up is that basically everybody in this movie gets to wear the freaky contacts, except for the guy who had experience wearing freaky contacts. Christopher Lee had been doing it for years in the Dracula movies and in the Frankenstein movies and in the Mummy movies. He'd been doing it forever. He got a break this time. Lucky him.
I was saying maybe it was a much needed break, because I can't imagine. I am not a contacts wearer, but I don't know how comfortable they would be.
Back in that time,
it does
they
make
wouldn't.
my eyes hurt and water a little bit just to think about it.
Yeah.
I wore contacts for years.
Like I think they were like hard kind of lens-ish type things back then,
must
weren't
have
they?
been.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were starting to get soft
these
lenses,
things weren't
but
just like smooth. They were like the iris was like a little bulgy. I mean, they were like dimensional. They were really, really gross.
Well, and then you have to think these actors had to lay there for how long without blinking with these things in their eyes. Like, that's, no thank you.
well, then blinking wouldn't help anyway. So
no, gosh, no.
Yeah. Well, how they extrude, I think you probably couldn't blink with those in.
The way they stick out, you would think not. Yeah.
Oh man.
Now I'm just like shivering a little bit thinking about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks for bringing up the eyeballs again, Jackie.
Sorry. They were a major plot point.
They were important.
Really were. Although that was one thing, going back to the Chinese thief at the train station, when the guy was like, oh, he's just a common thief, blah blah blah. He's a pick, he can pick a lock and whatever.
Yeah.
And the Rasputin guy is like, a thief, but he's blind, and it's like, oh, so that's what blind people look like?
Oh, I missed that part. That doesn't feel good at all.
No.
And it's like, oh, that's what you think blind people's eyes look like?
That's very bad.
That's a really weird thing to say.
That is a bad thing.
Clearly, he didn't have any scientific training either, but
No.
Or actually have seen eyeballs at any time in his life.
No.
He was not a doctor, but he played one on television.
Did he? Can we confirm that? No, I'm just kidding.
As far as the eyes go, a couple of years prior, there was a movie, Village of the Damned.
Yes.
Yes.
And that had the kids wearing the
freaky eyes.
Contacts.
Yeah.
And they were, to me, they were creepier than seeing the ones on this, because in the Village of the Damned, you could still see the iris.
Oh, no.
Oh, they were just like cloudy. Right. Oh, that's gross.
That's so scary.
Yeah. Happy to bring that up. Thanks.
Thanks, Wes.
Yeah. Well, we were talking
Children
about
of
how. Oh, sorry.
Oh, wasn't Children of the Corn the same way? But that was later. But yeah.
Oh, maybe.
That I don't recall.
I don't recall.
Creepy Kids is like its own subgenre,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
True.
That's the terror. That's
There's
the true
lots of them.
terror.
Well, if I could distract us from like the creepy eyeballs and stuff,
Thank you.
Please.
Yes.
I was looking at my notes and I actually wrote down an incredible. Well, let's just talk about Telly Savalas for a minute, because his entrance in this movie, personally, I don't understand what his character was, what the hell he was talking about at any time, what he was meant to do there. I don't. He was having the time of his life. I think he may have been drunk the whole time.
He did seem to enjoy himself in that.
Oh
yeah.
my lord! But in his first scene, I backed up so I could make sure I got all the words right. He said to the guy he kept calling Little Papa, "A horse has 4 legs, a murderer has 2 arms, but the devil must be afraid of one honest Cossack." What the fuck does that mean?
What's a Cossack?
I think there's a little bit of racist tension. Like there's Cossacks would be people from a certain version in Russia.
Right.
So
And I guess he was
Yeah.
meant to be one.
That's the impression I got. Was he was
With
he
the
was a Cossack.
stylish threads and everything. That amazing outfit.
Because a Greek dude from New Jersey is definitely the best casting choice for the
Totally.
Russian Cossack. Yeah.
Yep.
And with all the variety of accents and things in this movie, because it was a very international sort of every part of Europe and Asia sort of represented, and then all of a sudden Telly Savalas is dropped in the middle. He's like, "What? I'm not putting on an accent. Screw you people.
I'm not sure
I'm
he
Telly
could.
Savalas."
I don't recall ever hearing him do an accent.
I don't think so.
no.
Yeah.
Although that line was only my second favorite line in the movie, because the other one that I wrote down that I had to back up to make sure I did right was when Telly Savalas asked, after the Countess left the train car, and he turned to this other woman and said, "Are you a Countess?" And she said, "I am an American, and I am not accustomed to being bullied by foreigners."
Yes.
Which was just like,
What?
damn it, that's a good line.
That's when he took the lollipop out of his mouth. He was
That's-
only
I
on
was waiting for Who Loves You, Baby, and there wasn't even one.
I
He didn't
so
call
wanted
anyone
it.
baby.
I
Yeah.
so wanted him to.
He was only in this movie about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
going,
he pretty much stole it.
He, he definitely got what plot there was moving. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did
that
he?
was that was when the shit started to go down. That was when the battle. That was when the small quiet British murder mystery turned into a battle scene.
Lots of shooting.
Oh,
He was a
man.
good shot. Did you notice how precise he was?
He-
Like just shooting into like a group of people and hitting the one person he was aiming at. It was amazing.
Cut scene be damned, right? I mean, he hit his target every time.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's when the movie really took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and I know I wasn't expecting much because it was all over the place. But like the monk Jesus dude getting like beaten, and then the shoot like
Oh,
That
that
was
whipped him.
yeah, I was like, wait a minute, like did I fall asleep and all of a sudden like the sequel came on? I'm very confused what's happening. It was so bizarre to me.
Yeah. I kept wondering if there was some sort of thing that the audience was meant to just be like, well, if he's a Cossack and he's a whatever, I don't know where he was from, but like we should just understand that they automatically have this weird animosity towards each other or whatever, because it was out of nowhere.
And it also
Just
wasn't
hand
like
me my whip or whatever.
yeah, like super relevant to the plot really at all. It just was like an opportunity for this like violence to happen. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was, and it also went on for. I mean, it was not like here's a few seconds of him
Right.
tailing this guy. He's just gonna,
we don't
do
need
this for a couple minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Cossacks were very anti-Christian or something at some point in history. I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm reaching here.
But as monks go, he sure did change teams pretty quick.
He did.
Oh, boy, didn't he?
I was going to mention that.
Yeah. That really made me think, like, wait, did I miss a scene? It's like, did I miss him, like, a major thing happening to him that caused him to, whoever you are, I'm going to follow you now. It's like, is it just because your picture fell off the wall? Because that's literally the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, unless they're really going to the well on the Rasputin look-alike thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a jump for sure.
Yeah.
Where's his chalk? Come on. Get the chalk back out, dude. Come on.
Right.
That's true.
Don't give up so quick.
So many opportunities to do the chalk trick on that train, and he did not do it.
Gave up on that real quick.
Yeah.
You mentioned the line monster. We're British.
Yes. That's right, it was monster.
The only other person that had comic lines in this was Cushing's assistant.
Loved her.
Oh my God, yes.
MVP of the whole movie, in my opinion.
She had 2 great lines, and for that I praise her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of them was like her very first line. It was just like, well, she was not going to let him get away with anything. For a woman.
When he was,
Oh yes, that was
So great. Yeah.
I was sad to see her die or get turned or whatever. Because eventually they all were just getting turned into monsters as opposed to dying. I got very confused.
Yeah, the zombie thing, I don't know where that came from. That was pretty out of the blue.
Yeah. They forgot they were making a Satanist movie.
Yeah.
Was a statement, don't come watch this movie?
They did kind of like so if you see the eyes and then your eyes turn white, are you dying or what? But there was a point where I don't even know who said it, but I jotted down, someone said, you saw his eyes, one look at them and you're dead. Okay, that literally makes no sense. Like you saw them, so if you look at them, you're dead. But you're not, so you must not have seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after doing when they did that whole explanation about, I was an alien from another galaxy, and then I was left behind, and then I found a way to survive, and I was like a parasite, and I went from host to host. And then
I'm just waiting for y'all to invent the phone, so I can phone home.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But the weirdness of they go to all this trouble to invent this story, and it's like, well, did they forget that the whole way we found the guy was that he was frozen for 2 million years?
Yeah.
So he's been living here since the beginning of time, but he accidentally got into this guy who got frozen in a cave, and he just had to sit there. Like, he couldn't. And then later, when the monk is all possessed and telling this whole big story, but they're holding a gun on him, so he goes, pull the trigger and it'll all be over. It's like, well, no, obviously not, because you literally just told us that you move from person to person.
Right. Yeah.
Like, within a single scene, they completely forget the story they just told. It's just, just like more plot holes than a pile of white eyeballs, or I don't know. It's just such a good movie, though.
At certain points, like when it's sitting there frozen for so long, like every once in a while, you just expect them to say, "Well, I was just waiting for Kurt Russell to come along."
Oh, big time. Big time.
Yeah, he had the misfortune of landing on the wrong part of the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave's got
shit,
better
this
movie.
is not my plan. Where's the guy with the awesome hair?
Right? That glorious mane.
Yes.
Does this train go to Antarctica?
not. He's like, oh, I was told to go to a cold place. Well, there are 2 cold places. Damn it!
And then just the weird, let's all pile in the back train car and we'll uncouple it, but we won't do it until the last possible second. And just that whole like, okay, so radio ahead and tell them to flip the switch so that the train will go off a cliff? That's not usually what those switch things do.
Yeah, this was definitely another like science check that we needed to do. I actually asked that to my boyfriend as we were watching it. I'm like, is this physically possible? He's like, I don't think so. So confirmed.
And then he just coasted to a stop right there at the end. It's like, oh, problem solved.
Yeah, everyone was perfectly fine.
All 3 or 4 of them that were left at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
However many.
And the poor guys in that train station who had to flip the switch, when they get the message, and the one guy goes, maybe there's a war. Like they don't understand why they're being given this instruction, and he goes, maybe there's a war, and I'm like, man, how fucking remote are you? Like, you have no idea what's going on in the world, and you just follow orders.
The train?
They'll send the train off a cliff. I have no idea why. I've got the ticker tape right here to prove that it wasn't my fault.
It says, let it go off the cliff. I don't know. What was I supposed to do?
I don't know.
What it says.
That's what it says.
Don't want corporate to come down on us. So.
Oh my God! Can you imagine this movie is like going? Well, did you fill in the UH2454? I can't do that.
There would be a 20-minute scene of like legal processes.
That might have actually been an improvement.
Now, see, I'm talking about how they make a lot of remakes of movies, and yet no one has tried to remake this classic. It's like, I wonder why. You'd think they could find room for improvement.
Well,
once is enough.
I do have word that there is a plan for a Horror Express movie.
No.
Wow.
Yes.
Who's doing it?
It's so under consideration that you really can't determine it. That there's no release date or anything.
Just an indication that someone's thinking about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know. Well, they did Murder on the Orient Express with Kenneth Branagh, and that seemed to do okay.
True.
So I'm wondering
good, yeah.
if they're thinking these movies might come back.
Isn't there a sequel in the works for that, too?
Really?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Death on the Nile is supposed to be coming out here.
Oh,
next
really?
few months. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. A trailer came out a couple of months ago for it. It looked good. Looks really good.
Nice.
That's awesome. Although, I did think about Murder on the Orient Express a little bit while I was watching this. Like, in all the, let's search all the cars and we're going to look in all the berths. And I kept thinking, yeah, but in Murder on the Orient Express, you're looking for a human. And a human can blend. But, yeah.
Well, clearly this thing can blend too, as we've seen.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it does jump from person to person.
Yeah, that's true.
Although you seem to have forgotten that early on. I don't know. Maybe he had to fully thaw out before he got the power to jump into another person. Or I actually did consider the possibility of, was he looking for people with simple brains as opposed to all these highly educated people? Because the policeman at one point said to Christopher Lee, like, well, I don't understand these things. I'm just a policeman. I'm not as educated as you. And I remember thinking, it's like, well, so it was a thief and a baggage man and now a policeman. But then he ended up, with the biologist. So, that theory went out the window.
Well, if we keep ourselves hidden among the lower classes, then obviously the smart people won't come actually solve the problem or anything,
True. Was there like a steerage car? Was there like a car for poor people on this train?
There had to have been.
There must have been.
They were
multiple.
blissfully ignorant in the back. They had no idea what was going on.
And I bet if there was, that car went off the cliff with the rest of them because they don't matter. And Christopher Lee certainly doesn't care.
Yeah.
And there was probably a car back there with a Model T in it, and there was a couple making out in it, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But there was no caboose.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just that lone car there in the back. It wasn't a very short train. I don't think, and maybe it's because I have to sit at a lot of train crossings where I live and wait for, all these cargo trains to go by, but there was 10 cars total maybe on that train? That was a little bitty train.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I truly couldn't tell. I kept getting confused, what am I supposed to be looking at right now? Where am I on this train?
You could be anywhere on this train, honestly.
A lot.
Oh, and they did a lot of autopsies and all the microscope work in the dining car, in the fancy dining car. I noticed.
Yes. Oh my God. Everybody.
Which was so sanitary.
Between meals? What? How? When? How? I don't.
I was quite fascinated by that dining car. Although I was extra fascinated that Christopher Lee wasn't eating in the dining car, and then when Lady Gaga comes in to talk to him, it was the Countess. It was the Countess that talked to him, and he was, and she was like, "Oh no, don't get up." So he took that to mean I'm going to keep eating.
Well, he was under house arrest at that.
Yeah, because he was considered a suspect.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he was always suspiciously nearby. Yeah. He brought the murderer onto the train.
The murder box.
The murder box. Well, he's technically an accomplice, honestly.
That's right.
Good point. He didn't fully, and I mean, I love the idea that he just kept referring to it as a fossil. It's like, okay, well, if it's a fossil, why does it have all this hair and stuff? That's not what a fossil is.
No.
How does it get around?
Pretty well, really, for a fossil.
Well, every time he said fossil, nobody knew what he was talking about. It's rocks.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Even if they would have seen it.
To ask him. It's what a fossil? What is that?
Well, that's my question is do we think that he actually knew that this thing could come to life at any point, or did he really just think it was it's just a skull?
I don't know. He kept a lot of locks on it.
I know. He wouldn't tell anyone what it was.
Right. He did a lot of not answering those questions.
Right?
Yeah.
What? There's nothing in here. Oh, yeah. Look over there.
Which, again, this could have been resolved before we got on the train if you just checked.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have had this incredible film to enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I kept wondering if he wasn't just some sort of he called himself a nobleman, but maybe he's one of those old British guys where the fortune is gone, so he goes traveling places to find relics he can sell. So he's a British Indiana Jones.
Oh yes. Yeah. Well, he definitely didn't really have manners because in that first scene when he's, when both he and Peter Cushing obviously do not have tickets to get on this damn train, and they're trying to scam this guy, and then and Christopher Lee has the nerve to be like, oh, where I come from, that's bribery and it's illegal and it's and then when it's his turn to talk to the guy, he just goes swoosh and knocks everything off the guy's desk,
right,
and freaks him out, and then the guy's like, oh, I found your ticket, and it's like, who is this asshole? Why does no one why is he not instantly under arrest for just being an ass? From the very beginning.
Well, and the only reason he got away with it, BS, is because the army showed up behind him and started asking. Oh yeah, and so there's a squad of troops standing there behind him, and so the guy
he's obviously a very important man.
Right, the guy that works in the train station, he's wearing his cool little hat. He's like, I ain't into this. Nope, here, have a ticket. I don't care.
Here, get out of my office.
Not my deal anymore. I'm done. Get the fuck out of here.
Get off my
bastard out of my office.
Uh-huh. This is getting worse all the time. I'm getting this asshole out of here. Yep.
And what we didn't see was after they left, the guys picking the stuff up and going, I'm getting too old for this shit. But they cut that out.
Right. Yeah. They didn't pay those guys for lines. Are you kidding? They were walk-ons. Does this guy fit in the uniforms we have? Yeah. Put him in it. Let's go.
vaguely Asian looking, sure.
Yes, that's the other thing too. Is like, yeah, just vaguely Asian. We'll just put them all in here. It'll be fine.
That sounds great.
Peking, Shanghai, same diff. We don't know.
Right. There's probably Asians there. We'll just sort of put them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Whatever.
then that little military bunch that came in, all clearly Asian guys behind him, but what is this guy, Swedish? The guy in the front? The guy who actually gets to speak?
Yeah, the captain guy, whatever he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Like white AF guy
big
with
time.
his little blonde twirly mustache. Like, what the hell?
with those uniforms that, what the hell military was that ever a uniform for? I
Those
mean,
weird white spats that go up to the knee. Very interesting.
yeah, it was just so, I'm like, that doesn't look even vaguely authentic. I mean, come on. You could get better shit down at the Halloween store down the street.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, between that and Telly Savalas' coat, it's like everything else was sort of, tasteful colors and whatever, and then these guys come in with their Sergeant Pepper outfits. It's like, I don't really... Is it because it was the 70s?
I am willing to bet Telly Savalas
Yeah.
walked off the plane to shoot this movie wearing that damn coat. I mean, come on.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. That was from Mr. Savalas wearing a coat from his personal collection.
Oh yeah.
You said earlier that this reminded you of Murder on the Orient Express.
A little bit. Not a lot, just a little.
No,
little.
and I understand. But I had a problem because all I could think of was the Petticoat Junction song through this movie. They show the train, and I'm going, there's Uncle Joe. He's moving kind of slow at the junction.
It's wouldn't you just love for the cop one time, out of all those times he whistled the theme song, to slip that in? That would have been genius. That would have been
And just hope
greatness.
nobody noticed.
Yeah. That would have been awesome.
Oh, Lord.
Now that you mentioned Petticoat Junction, was that the same show where like they were like bathing in the water tower type of deal?
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
weird,
the
yeah.
opening credits, yeah.
Yeah, in this one I just imagined like kind of frozen and dead.
What's petticoat in Russian?
Petticoat.
Savalas.
I learned it from Moose and Squirrel. Now, if you were a passenger, would you have gotten on this train knowing that what was their tagline? I'm trying to remember. A nightmare of terror traveling aboard the Horror Express.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time.
That's
Yeah.
kind of an awful tagline,
I
too.
don't know. Around Halloween time, it might be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, largely what I think this train represents is like the Trans-Siberian one, right?
I think so,
And-
yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
idea, I
And
think.
when I was over in the UK, they had they ran this thing called the vodka train, and you had to be under 35, and basically it was like you getting hammered,
It's not
from,
like a booze
Moscow.
cruise,
Yeah, it was like a 10-day booze cruise,
though. Oh,
on a
my
train.
God.
and it was like Moscow to Shanghai, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was a party train.
Oh, my Lord. And there could have been an 8-man walking around there, but everyone was so drunk they didn't notice.
That could be it. Oh my God, that's the problem. That's how we
That
managed.
hairy guy in the next bunk. I don't know.
See, and
I
that
think-
reminds
I think
me of
his
the
name is Jerry.
that reminds me of the train scene from Trading Places
Yes.
with the guy with Jim Belushi in the gorilla suit.
Oh.
Oh no.
We're moving.
We are moving.
I will say Dan Aykroyd in blackface does not age well.
Not really, no.
No.
Blackface in general doesn't age well.
Does not.
No. No. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, we did that on our podcast as well. And, yeah. The train scene was quite interesting. Inga from Sweden.
God, yeah.
But you're wearing lederhosen.
Right?
We're hoping nobody notices.
Absolutely.
Stereotype much?
Yeah. But that was also a train with the two old men. Like Trading Places had the two old guys in it. This is Cushing and Christopher Lee. And Trading Places has those two old guys. It was Don Amici.
Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy.
Ralph Bellamy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And Petticoat
So many
Junction had two
parallels.
old guys.
Oh man.
Oh my God!
What is it
you
with-
can't do a train movie without two old guys.
Well, that's good to know when the remake of this comes out. There's got to be two old guys.
Ooh, Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
There you go. Oh, my God. I'm in. I'm so in.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
I think the script needs a little work.
No, keep it
absolutely.
exactly as it is.
They have to play it completely straight.
Yeah, I would love to watch that. Shot for shot.
Well, then
Oh,
for
but
mine,
so who plays who then, though? Who does Ian, is Ian McKellen, is he going to be Christopher Lee because he's taller?
I think who has the better mustache game is the question, because that was a big part of this movie, was severe mustache.
The mustache was, that was important.
And Cushing's hair was looking pretty sweet in this too.
Mhm.
It was fantastic. There was a lot of times when I was just like, look at that hair. How the hell? As my hair is grayer and grayer as I'm not coloring it these days, and I'm just like, I could never get perfect hair like Peter Cushing had in this movie.
yeah,
See,
it was
then you're
beautifully glorious.
gonna have to give that role to Ian McKellen because, I mean, unless you just want to intentionally do a bad wig on Patrick Stewart, I mean,
It wouldn't be the first time.
there ain't no hair going on there.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Oh, I just noticed another note that I wrote down that I guess it would have been right when the murders were first happening, and I guess it was right after because Cushing had already seen the guy because he made a snotty remark about, oh, you mean the dead guy? I already know about that. When the guy walked up and said, are you a doctor? And I wrote down that I really wanted Cushing to say, well, actually, I'm the doctor. But that's only for the handful of people who saw those 1960s Doctor Who movies. But it's canon. It counts.
It does.
Absolutely.
It does.
Are you a doctor? I am the doctor. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, then we have to put Peter Capaldi in this.
Yes, we do. Of course, he could just be in all movies. I'd be fine with that.
Absolutely. So if you were to remake this,
Yeah.
we've noticed a lot of like the inconsistencies of this. So would you start it off with the murder mystery, or would you go straight to the creature part of it? Or would you just ditch the creature part of it, or at least make it consistent with the creature? Like, how would you clean up this plot that it would really kind of flow for you?
I wonder if it would be more interesting if the audience wasn't in on who was doing the murdering. If it was like a normal murder mystery where the audience is taken along on that journey with, the inspector or whatever. So, we find out that there's some weird stuff stored in crates, but we don't assume that that's where the problem is, because why would it? That could be. I could go with more of a murder mystery angle and then just be like, what the hell is that thing with the glowing red eyes?
So like
That's the
Murder on the
twist.
Orient Express, but like with a demon.
Well, it's sort of Murder on the Orient Express meets Thing, because like the Thing
Mhm.
sort of starts off where
True.
people are just very scared of each other
Mm-hmm.
Right,
and
right.
think somebody might be doing the murdering, but it actually is a creature.
And that scene where they're looking in everyone's eyes with a magnifying glass. I don't really know what they were looking for. I don't think they knew what they were looking for.
Oh no,
But-
certainly not.
That's kind of reminiscent to the putting the electrode in the blood in the petri dish. It's
Yeah.
We're just checking everyone. It's like, well, you don't have to check me. It's like, but we do though. We have to check everyone.
Check
Right.
everyone. Mhm.
I think we may be onto something here.
Yes.
I'm mad about it.
I like
There's
it.
a lot of parallels.
There's a lot of parallels with actually good movies.
Oh, I would like to add. I want to add the plot of Clue, where they have alternate endings, so you're not really sure.
Oh yes.
See, that's the only. I think that's the only way to make the Alien ending make sense, is if it's one of like 3 or 4 different endings, and it's like, just this random shit, crazy, batshit ending thing that we're gonna do. Oh, it was an alien the whole time.
And then on top of it, I do want some of the vodka train party bus type of deal happening.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Because it's going to make it harder to solve.
That is the entire B plot.
Yeah.
And we just go in there every once in a while and go, okay, look, boobs. Okay, now we go back out here.
Oh my God. And then the creature jumps into a particularly drunk co-ed. And things go wrong.
Or maybe they think he's just that hairy kid, and he's wearing like a Panama Jack shirt and and some funny glasses, and they just think he's just the hairy guy, and he's hanging out with college students.
Perfect. Love that idea. Love it.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you need a waxing, or manscaping jokes, things like that.
Oh, a girl's like, I love a guy with a little hair.
Oh, there you go. Oh my God, it's like so cute.
It's like so cute. Like, do you know which school he's from?
I hope someone's writing this down.
We're recording it.
I think
we have it for posterity.
Right. I think there's an argument to be made that we're recording this. So yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So if something like this comes out, we'll know that we did that.
Yeah.
True.
We better all get credit.
I agree. Is Brendan Fraser too old to play the monster?
No.
Since he's been a thought-out caveman before?
Absolutely not.
He's too old because he was in The Mummy.
I was gonna say he's fought. He's been on both sides of this fight. He's been the thought-out caveman, and he's been the guy fighting the thought-out caveman. I mean, come on.
That's right.
Okay, but if we have him in here being the monster, Pauly Shore does have to be like a conductor who's checking tickets.
I was just thinking
please no.
He's supposed to be the guy collecting tickets. That's totally his job.
Either that or he's the chaperone for the vodka train car.
Yeah. Oh, yes, he is. Like from Son-in-Law, he was like the PA or TA person.
And instead of vodka, it's weasel juice.
Yes.
Buddy.
Buddy. He's got to drop that on the monster.
Telegraph operator, okay?
Oh, the telegraph operator's like, okay, so, great, buddy. How do I do buddy on the little telegraph thing? Buddy.
Like a whole bunch of views.
Just a
What has been unleashed in this talk?
Totes emergency. Train, bad people, Harry, eek, buddy.
Gotta crash it, buddy.
Yes.
Only way to go.
Who's gonna when the guy gets the ticker tape and turns to tell the guy, the Telly Savalas character, who's gonna uncover himself in the jail cell or whatever the hell that was, with some chick, which is another fun thing.
Was that?
I think this is his contract. Yeah. My first shot, I'm in bed with a chick, always, like whatever. Every movie he does. So who's gonna chew the scenery like Telly Savalas did?
Oh man! Normally when we do stuff like this, we have like days to prepare. I have no idea off the top of my head.
I don't know. We're doing pretty good off the top of our heads right now.
I think we are.
I mean, the first person that springs to mind is Al Pacino, and maybe that's because we just watched Dick Tracy a few weeks ago.
Oh, good Lord, he's a good scenery chewer.
Oh, he can chew scenery with the best of them.
Oh man.
Oh, can you imagine him asking the question? He's like, all right,
Hoo-ah!
Hoo-ah! You've got a hairy monster on this train. Hoo-ah!
I certainly wouldn't have any trouble believing him with that Cossack line that you were quoting earlier, Amelia.
Oh, he'd deliver the hell out of that.
Oh, man.
Make Joe Pesci the monster. Are you calling me Harry? Do I look hairy to you?
Do I look like an animal to you?
Yeah, kind of.
Do I look 2 million years old to you?
Look into
Oh,
my
and then
eyes.
the first person to see the monster with the glowing red eyes immediately makes a pot joke. Because of course they
Is the
would.
train still moving?
Oh, that actually reminds me of something. There were moments, and it's only certain scenes, it's not always, but there were moments where you can tell the director said, okay, everyone just sort of shift your weight from foot to foot. Because people, like, the room is still and everyone is just slightly moving from side to side. It's like, because the train is moving.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta remind people you're on a train.
Wow, that kind of detail. Who would have thunk?
It's like amazing. Out of all the things that they completely screwed up in this movie, they had those kinds of details for authenticity. It was really kind of amazing.
Which is weird because the director wrote this thing.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I looked that up. I looked up. How much the budget was, I promise I didn't even look at that. But it was written.
Well, they saved some money there, I guess.
Yeah.
One paycheck for that guy.
Well, it felt like it's, and I've seen this in other movies too, where it feels like this person thinks, this is my one shot. So I've got to get all the stories I could possibly want to tell in this one go.
Mm. That could be it.
Take 6 stories, chop it up, and see what works.
Yep.
Put it in a blender.
Don't bother sticking them together to make sense. We don't have time for that.
You.
There's a really good chance that I'm not very good at this, and they'll never let me make another movie. So I have to throw everything I have at this right now.
Yeah. Absolutely everything. Like, it's weird.
Even a poodle for no reason, you know.
Exactly.
That was the cute factor, you know.
He was pretty cute.
It's a dog. And then, of course, your anxiety all the way through it. Don't kill the dog. Don't you kill the dog.
If we come in later and that dog is laying on the floor and be really upset.
Yeah. I will turn this off.
We'll turn this train around right now.
They should have had the dog in the final scene in the car with them, the survivors. They should have had the dog there. They really should.
That's a good point.
That would have been nice to know. Yeah.
The dog should have been the only one to try.
Yeah, you see the dog pulling
the
Yeah, you see him pulling the brake handle. Arr, arr, arr.
Yeah. Who's the bitch now?
Into the sequel.
That is perfection.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is, if I got to watch this SOB, then you do too. Live through it.
Yeah. So bad it turned your eyes white.
If only.
Damn it, I can still see.
There's so many things we can't unsee, and we'll learn to live with this. Wine.
Wine. Absolutely.
But there is something delightful in such a horrendous mess. I will say, I still am always kind of delighted to see Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing just do stuff.
Oh.
Like, half of this movie, I think, is just them wanting to do a vacation together.
Right. Yeah.
You kind of
totally.
wonder.
They just
yeah.
hang out.
Right, let's go play with a train.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Oh, I can't. I gotta watch Life Fog.
Look, they're gonna give us $90,000 each to go hang out in Spain for 3 weeks and shoot this movie, which is not great, but screw it, let's go anyway.
Right.
Spain.
Like,
I thought they were in
British
Shanghai.
all over the place. It'll be fabulous.
Absolutely.
Feel like the most British things ever.
Mm-hmm. Well, last year we talked about Last Man on Earth, and I'm pretty sure that's what Vincent Price did. Was just like, screw it. I'm going to be in Italy anyway. Let's just shoot this movie.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
There are a lot of actors that'll do that, though. Although usually they're not, big name people, but a lot of the smaller actors are like they'll pick a part based on, well, I've never been to Bali before. Sure, I'll go be in your movie.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Vacation, and then I put in a couple days work and you pay me and I hang out.
Yeah.
Recoup
Beats
the cost
working.
of the vacation, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to be a kind of downer about this, but I was just reading here on Wikipedia.
Everybody's dead.
Well, no, but well, just the fact that Cushing originally did not want to do the film because he had recently lost his wife at the time, and he just didn't really want to do it. And Christopher Lee actually just went to him and kind of talked about the old days during the Hammer films and all that, and that basically brought Cushing up and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do the film.
Wow.
So they really did do it just to kind of hang out.
Yep.
That's cool.
That is
I'm
cool.
like, aw.
Oh, yeah. Like his buddy was like, "It's terrible, but we'll go have some fun."
Yeah. Let's go do a movie. Yeah.
And then we're sitting here making fun of it when it's delightful.
That's how The Wiggles was made too. His brother lost a kid, and they did it to get his mind off of it. So.
Oh wow.
I didn't realize Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were in The Wiggles.
No, but I gotta use what I know, man.
No, that's cool.
Nice.
Hey, they've done everything, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
entirely possible, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know,
On that one.
We damn near broke Amelia.
Although I think Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing would probably be better in The Night Garden, if you've seen that.
Oh.
It's a children's show, but it's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen it, but I have. That's one of those things that it keeps coming up, and I keep somehow not seeing it. But yeah, that's going to be on my list. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but watch it with a friend. Don't do it alone. Never with children, because they're enamored and hypnotized by it, and it's scary.
Oh yeah. I was one of those traumatized children. But it's amazing that I learned to actually like scary movies, considering I had to sleep with the light on like most of my childhood. I kept being. It was like I was attracted and repulsed by scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
Damn Vincent Price. Scared the hell out of me.
Damn drive-ins that would show a kid-friendly movie first and then 20 minutes later start a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Especially with a 7-year-old in the back who has trouble sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I saw The Shining.
No.
Kid
Oh
you
my
not.
God.
That is how I saw The Shining the first time.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
My first horror movie was The Exorcist. That was like, whoa.
That'll break you in. No shit.
You didn't go halfway. Oh.
I mean, mine is just The Pit and the Pendulum, but I still have like a visceral reaction to the same part of the movie that scared the shit out of me when I was 7. It's still, I can't even like Google and look up that picture without going, God, yeah. It just freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's very impressionable. There's a certain age where it just sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My son is terrified of clowns, and it sucked because I used to collect clowns.
Oh no!
Used to.
Yeah, used to.
Not anymore.
My sister thought it
I
was.
went from being a kid who wanted to be a clown to being someone who, I wasn't necessarily scared of clowns, but I was very uncomfortable about clowns. I started thinking about, that's just a guy like in makeup and we don't know who he is, like that. And that was before I knew about like murdery clowns. I mean, it just kind of occurred to me one day that that's a little creepy.
Yeah. We'll never be able to pick him out of a lineup.
Right. I don't know. He had a big red nose.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
if y'all want to hear a crazy story, I think I've told this to Les or Mike before, since we're kind of on being younger and seeing scary films, and it kind of affected you. It ties into this. My parents used to be Sunday school teachers when I was a kid, and we attended a lock-in, and they were showing different films everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the films they showed. So my first scene of any of the scenes was where the Mata Hari got her mind wiped, and I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here?
As a 5-year-old, you're saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I knew the word. Yes, Les, thank you. But I'm just
You were
like,
really ahead of your time.
yeah, oh yeah. But I'm
They
just like,
just-
you know, I'm watching the eyes go white, and of course the blood and all that. I'm like,
Amazing.
why am I watching this?
Oh, Lord.
What am I? Why
In church.
Right, I'm locked in
Oh,
a
man.
church late at
Right, no
night
kidding.
with a bunch of
Whose idea
people.
was that?
I have no.
Yeah, if I
Wow.
saw this when I was a kid, it really, I mean, I would have been seriously freaked out if I was a kid.
I saw that. I'm like, you know what? I think I need to go use the restroom, so I'll see y'all later. And I
For a couple hours. I'm
yes,
just going to go out.
yes. Went up to mom and dad's like, can we go home now? You know, why are we here?
Done.
Why are we here?
Yeah.
They showed us things like crossing the switchblade that'll scare you, you know.
Oh,
You gotta follow Jesus or your head gets cut off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at the movie. You know those little tracks they used to pass out?
oh, Chick Tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I used to
like
collect them. Because they
that
were so funny.
is like a live action track.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Oh, my God.
you know, scare them to Christ.
It's like the religious version of like one of those driver's ed movies.
It is,
Ah,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Wow.
They have a few they go to, you know. You have sex, you're gonna die and explode. Well, I found out half of that was true.
We're not going to ask which half, but anyway, it's like Reefer Madness all over again.
Right.
No. That was my experience growing up. All I remember is I was staying with my grandmother, and at one point she was after church. She sent me to Sunday school a couple of times, and then at one time I asked her, I'm like going, "Oh, am I going to Sunday school after church?" She's like, "No, you're not. They don't want you back."
They've
Oh,
changed
my
the
God,
lock.
that's amazing.
I guess asking why it burned when you walked in kind of tipped them off, huh?
I asked way too many questions, I think was the thing.
Yeah.
But why? But that doesn't make sense.
Right?
It's just the one
I
question
haven't asked-
over and over again.
Church or two. Just a
Because
few.
God works in mysterious ways. But that's stupid.
Yeah, so do serial killers, but we don't follow them around. You say that, there's an entire subculture, man. But anyway.
That's how cults get started.
Mm-hmm.
Say, Manson was married.
And still boning a whole bunch of other chicks. But anyway.
Yeah, you know.
As too bad Piggy's not here. He loves cults more than anything. Cults and serial killers. And I mean, how many times have I had to hear him talk about how Charles Manson used to be really hot? It's like, oh, God. Jim Jones, before he went crazy, he was really hot. It's like, God.
He didn't take a bath. Ooh.
Oh,
You can't tell that from the pictures. I mean, come on.
Oh, man, you can. Just the hair alone was like, no.
oh.
Oh.
Dabble, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dabble what?
Soap. Use it.
showers. 9 out of 10 people swear by them.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing when I found out, I guess it was the end of last year, when this guy who, I didn't realize the clock was ticking on our friendship, and I was going to be walking away and never speaking to him again in a matter of weeks. But when he told me that when he gets depressed, he just doesn't bathe, and he goes, yeah, because he had just gotten broken up with like a month and a half earlier, and he goes, yeah, the last time I took a shower was that weekend when I was still dating Becky, and I'm like, that was October.
Oh.
And then he informed me that he took a shower on Christmas morning, and he let me know that that was his first shower since that one in October. And I'm just working under the assumption that that was the last time he bathed. And I mean, I don't know. I don't talk to him anymore. But why should he? I mean, I just don't. I will never understand it. It's like,
Why should he bathe, or why should he talk to you?
Well, he shouldn't talk to me because I told him not to. But
Okay.
That's too much. That's too big a story.
Yeah.
But really, I've also had a theory, like even when someone like that does eventually bathe, how can I trust that they did a thorough job? Because obviously they don't care. Like, I could never. How does he ever get a girlfriend? I mean, how disgusting.
Well, apparently if he got a girlfriend, he'd shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only so much. I mean, that's a lot of crap. You gotta sandpaper that shit off after a while,
Well, and who's gonna be your girlfriend if you're not taking showers? Kind of catch-22 there.
Yeah.
And
he's cute, but no.
And if the monster in this movie had showered even once, it would have been a totally different ending.
No kidding. No kidding. He could have made friends.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they would have been happy to help him find a phone to call home.
So misunderstood.
He could have had a nice shower, like just a nice blowout. Just felt really good. Cushing could have given him his hair secrets.
Mm.
I think of the Bugs Bunny with Mortimer.
Oh, yes. I love that one.
You look marvelous. Just marvelous.
That was one of my favorite Warner Brothers creatures.
Yes.
The nondescript hairy monster.
Oh, yes. Monsters are such interesting people.
Are you saying Gossamer?
Gossamer.
Was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. And on the newer ones, he's the witch's son.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love that witch, too. Oh, my God.
Witch Hazel?
Yes. Their little bobby pins flying all around.
I was going to say, she should have bought stock in bobby pins, man.
This is the Tangent Show.
Tangent Show. So anyway, Horror Express.
Forgot the topic. Our brains are smooth.
On my podcast, I always like to ask folks, like, if they were describing this movie to someone who's never seen it before and they want to sound like they've seen it before, like, what are the things they should say?
Oh, Jesus.
Weird, creepy white eyeballs.
Yep. Peter Cushing's hair.
Yeah.
Homeless Jesus.
Homeless Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Kojak, Cossack.
Yeah. That would be a great song.
And Don't Hurt the Dog. Yeah.
And the little dog.
And really, who the hell's kids were those? Those blonde babies that were sleeping. I mean, we never saw them before or after.
No, they died in the crash.
Train looked like they had kids.
I'm positive they died in that crash at the end.
They were probably among the zombie horde that was moving over the train at the end.
Yep.
In a movie filled with inexplicable things, the sudden zombie horde was like, I'm sorry, what? What's happening now? What is this? Did he multiply? Is he like 50 people now? I don't get it.
Clearly he can just control all of the bodies he's possessed in the last week. Yeah, that's it.
And why didn't he think of that like a couple million years ago? I mean, he could have.
Right.
He's not very bright.
Yeah.
What was the last thing on the screen? said the end, right?
Oh, yeah.
God,
I think
remember
so.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an alien energy form that landed on Earth and was dining on protozoa and the like.
Yes.
So crashing him into the ground is not going to kill him.
No.
Well,
It could be
obviously, shooting him doesn't kill him. Freezing him for 2 million years doesn't kill him.
Well, and see, that kind of was confusing, like freezing them for 2 million years, but if it could like occupy and feed off of these other things, like why, how was it trapped?
Yeah. I'm sure if we gave them a little more time, they could have come up with an explanation for that too.
Or if he's been frozen for that long, how has he been feeding and moving from place to place?
Right?
You know.
He was just in stasis for a while, and now he's really hungry. And he probably really needs to pee.
And he needs a shower, something fierce. But anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure. That's
All
what he
comes
was
back
when
to
he was in
showers.
the crate going, he's just like, God, I just really want to shower right now.
I mean,
Right?
he seems to be a very organized monster because he was very polite and putting the sheets back and everything. So
Hey.
maybe he does have a very organized lifestyle.
Sure. He doesn't just bust the crate apart. He very
Yeah.
gently unlocks it.
Right.
And he was taking a shower when he got frozen.
That's it.
Oh,
That's totally it.
2 million years ago, under a waterfall.
Yeah.
Sudden cold snap. That's
Could
what. There you
be.
go. That would explain it.
Yep. He was saying there's like, where's all the hot water gone?
Where did the dinosaurs
Who
go?
flushed the toilet?
I'm glad somebody can explain it, because I sure haven't figured it out.
I like movies that make you have to work. You
Oh.
just have to write your own movie to make it make sense.
Oh, and you have to, you make your own movie, but you also do all of the backstory for all of the characters, because
Sure.
you can't explain why they do what they do.
Right. Since the creators of the movie didn't bother, you might as well pass the time
Yeah.
that way. Right.
Especially on a character like Telly Savalas, because he was so charismatic. He had so much to say. He had so much personality, but we didn't learn anything about him except apparently he's a Cossack.
Yes.
And apparently
Other than
we weren't
that-
all sure about that, honestly. But,
And we're assuming heterosexual because he was with a chick when we first saw him.
Mhm.
Other than that,
a
no
chick
idea.
and a pile of furs of
Of
some
course.
sort. So,
As
Yeah.
you do.
I mean, so furry? I don't know, but
Well, then that monster should have been thinking, hey, like he would have loved him.
Yeah. Yiffy.
He just, oh my god, okay, and if the remake is a comedy, at a certain point, the Telly Savalas character has to come up behind the monster and go, oh, hey, honey, how are you doing?
Hey there, sweet cheeks.
Oh, sweetie, I've been looking all over for you.
How about somebody asking about Tinder? Okay, are you going to swipe left or swipe right?
Yeah. Oh, right, he looks so, like, he's a little hairy, but I love it.
I just love a manly man.
He just looks so masculine.
Let's take a moment here to acknowledge the fact that Mr. Technology just made a Tinder reference.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Be sure to tip your waitresses.
I don't know. Would it really be Tinder on a train? Maybe there's a train Tinder.
Trainer?
Engineer?
I'd be scared of a train on Tinder.
Look at singles in your car.
Oh, Lord. I'm in the bottom bunk. It's like, oh, hey. Top bunk.
How you doing?
Hello.
That's how the Countess found them. was Train Tinder.
Wow.
I don't know where else we can take this. Every possible direction.
Yeah, I don't know either. So, I
Do you want to try?
Once you end up at Train Tinder, I feel like that's it. Like you just call it.
Probably, yeah. It's probably time to do the shout out stuff. So, as promised, tell us where people can find your stuff. I guess we'll go in the same order, or let's go with Amelia first.
Are we going alphabetically?
I don't know. Are we? I didn't think about it. Apparently we are.
Well, you can find us at Bitch and Boutique on Twitter. On Instagram, which would be a waste of your time because I'm terrible at Instagram. We're at Pitney and Amelia because I'm also bad at branding. We have new episodes every other Friday morning, and we're just out here doing our best to be silly. I'm just very tired right now. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Definitely go check out their show because it is greatness. Jackie,
it's ridiculous. That's definitely what it is.
That's we could come up with lots of different synonyms for it, but yeah.
It's filthy.
It's good
most
stuff.
Of the time.
It is perfect.
Has its moments. Okay, Jackie.
Yeah, we're also silly. You can find us at JackieWatchesStuff.com or at JackieWatches on Twitter, which is very exciting. We don't have Instagram because we're also bad at branding. So you can also tweet all of the movies I should see at me because I need to grow my list.
That sounds like a challenge.
It does.
You are welcome to take it.
Oh, I have several that you will be very mad at me for.
Oh, dear.
I think you should watch them, though.
Hey, if I had to watch them, you have to watch them.
Well, there's one that's just so insane. I think you should watch it just because it will really up your street cred for obscure crap.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm always down for a good cultural reference, so
nice.
Send them over.
What is it?
Yeah, I kind of want to know too.
Yeah.
Oh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
I have not seen it, so I can add it to the list.
You have to follow it up with Killer Tomatoes.
Yes.
Oh.
Is George Clooney in the first or the second one?
I'm sorry, there's more than one
second.
of some of these movies.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's second, and I'm kind of mad at myself that I'm pretty sure about that.
Did you know that?
I just know George Clooney's in one of them.
Yeah.
George Clooney doesn't even recognize that he was in one of them.
He doesn't admit it anyway.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't admit it. Nope.
Alrighty,
Well,
Trish.
that's why he married a lawyer, so he could just wipe that from, his credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
But
a
he
bad-
has taken responsibility for Batman.
Oh, Lord.
Lucky us.
He does go around saying, he's like, I'm sorry I killed the franchise. Yeah.
Well, he didn't. Schumacher did.
Oh yeah, no, he didn't, but he'll fly on that grenade for everybody.
Yeah.
He'll phone
He
up.
didn't help.
What a guy.
That's for sure.
You told him it was okay to have nipples.
Sure, whatever you want, man. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah. It is
And
really
like
cold
Sue-
in here.
Add another
It's a
zero
cave
onto that
after
paycheck,
all.
and it's all good.
Why would the Batcave be warm? Come on.
I know, we need more lingering shots on crotches and very sculpted armor in the back.
Okie dokie, Trish.
All right. So, Invasion of the Remake is in a lot of places. Most of your podcatchers should have it. We're on Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all sorts of places. Our website is invasionoftheremake.wixsite.com.
where we do have like the links to all our episodes. We got stuff on TeePublic. On Twitter, we're at Invasion Remake. And we have invasionoftheremake@gmail.com if you want to just contact us by email. We do take fan challenges. So if any of you guys have like a fan challenge of this, I mean, we've already sort of half done it today with this movie, which was really awesome. Lots of good ideas. And that would be us.
Awesome.
Very cool.
And thank you, all three of you, for coming and hanging out with us.
This is fun.
Was a blast. Enjoyed the hell out of it.
We should do this more than once a year, don't you think?
Totally.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We need to go on a train.
I'm thinking for Easter or something like that. How's that?
Ooh, that would be good.
Who doesn't like a good crucifixion movie?
Oh, every Easter I watch Pet Sematary about a father who loses his son and tries to resurrect them and it goes wrong.
Beautiful.
That's amazing. We might just have to do something with that.
Yes.
That's cool. Alrighty, so again, thank you all, and we will be right back.
And we're back, and wow, what that was a great experience. That was fun. I didn't really do a lot of talking, and I didn't need to because, oh my God.
I'd say we all got our shots in.
It was fun just to listen to all of it. Amelia, Jackie, and Trish were just incredible.
Yes.
And they obviously had a great time because they all said they want to come back and do this again, and we would be more than happy to have them on. We'll work something out, definitely.
First thing we have to do is find a gem like Horror Express to bring it all back together with. We're gonna have a hard time topping that, honestly.
That's true.
Yeah, that's actually going to be the hard part.
We'll figure something out, but that's going to be a challenge.
It's one of those challenge accepted points.
We're going to try.
We'll work out something. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did. And definitely check out Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique, Jackie Watches Stuff, and Invasion of the Remake. Check out their podcast.
Yep.
We'll obviously have those links in the show notes. But definitely check out those shows.
Yep, absolutely. They're all cool shows.
Mm-hmm. And definitely check out all the podcasts that are coming out this month. As Mike said earlier, easiest way to do that is just do a search on Twitter, #AllTheHorror, and just scroll through, see what you can find, and check it out. And hopefully you found another show that you love as just much as you love listening to the Fellowship. I'm sure you will.
At least one.
At least one.
There's
at least one.
Bunch of good shows involved.
Yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add, Mikey or Les?
I don't think we can top that.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, as much fun as I had last year when we were doing, was the Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a great time doing that one, and we had at least as great a time doing this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be hard to top next year. Okay, on that note, go ahead and do our regular shout-outs. Want to thank Pop Goes Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of podcasts. Definitely check them out. We'll have a link in the show notes for them as well. And while you're on Twitter looking at #AllTheHorror, do a search for #Podern Family and check out some incredible podcast that we are very fortunate to be a part of. We do thank them for spreading the word of the fellowship. Thank you guys as always. I want to thank Maddie and Martyr for supplying the music to our regular podcast. And last but certainly not least, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We always appreciate your support, and we value your feedback. If you have a question, comment, suggestion, observation, complaint, what have you, by all means, contact us. There's several ways you can do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to our website, to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. We do have a Discord now. It's been up for several months. Feel free to join us there, and you can contact us that way. There is a link with in our social media icons on the website, and on the homepage there is a separate invite link there. You can also contact us through social media. We've already mentioned Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. You can also follow us on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, you can do that. Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, we would greatly appreciate it if you take a couple of moments to rate and review us. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
We do appreciate that you join us for this special episode of Fellowship of the Geeks, All the Horror. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @FellowshipGeeks. Until next time,